First of all, before we begin, can we start with the prayers? Let's try to involve the journalists just to give us a guide. All right, thank you. Members of the National Executive Committee, the Chairman, Conference of Principal Senior Secondary Schools, representatives of Conference of Principal Secondary Schools, and also the General Manager, Ghana Teachers Union, Cooperative Credit Union, Deputy General Secretary, Ghana Teachers Union, the Chairman, 𝐏𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐬, all who are present, members of the media fraternity, welcome to this very important session of the Gambia Teachers Union. If you can recall, since last week, the Gambia Teachers Union and the entire teachers of this country have dominated the social media by coming up with issues regarding the new pay structure. This pay structure has been an issue for us teachers. Members of the Gambia Teachers Union raised a red flag to draw the attention of the union that something has to be done before the pay structure is implemented. And of course, we pay homage to those esteemed members who raised an alarm and by drawing our attention to this issue. And we promised them that we will do everything humanly possible to provide answers for our members. Our purpose of being here today is to give you the information that we have gathered over the period, that the pay structure that we have been complaining about, we are actually able to get some information about it. And today that information will be relayed to the members. So, looking at the issue, we promised that we will first look at the document by authenticating which one has been approved by a cabinet. From there, we will review it and then share it with the members of the National Executive Committee for review. And then that has been done. And then a letter was also dispatched to the PMO to at least invite them for a session to give us some explanations about the background to the new pay structure. That invitation was honored by the PMO. We had a session with them yesterday. And of course, the meeting was very fruitful, the outcome of which will be given to you by the Deputy General Secretary, 𝐆𝐓𝐔 in a moment of time. I'm happy to give you the findings, or to tell you that the findings were done, and then everything that we were hoping for went successfully the way we wanted. The union, since inception, we are very much mindful about what is being said against us, and we are also accountable to the principles and policies of the union. Whatever happens, we make sure that we are there for our members. We make sure that we provide the right solution so that at least our members will definitely find solace to our information and then exercise patience to allow us to do things the way we want it. I don't want to bother you much with explanations regarding the background of the issue. I will, in a moment in time, allow the Deputy General Secretary to give you, to provide you a presentation of our findings. And of course, the General Manager of the Cooperative Credit Union will animate his presentation. Without much ado, I will invite after the presentation, I will invite the media to provide, to give us, or to ask questions regarding the issue, because I know you must have heard a lot of things, a lot of discussions have been going on, and then you have some questions that you want, or you also have some clarifications that you want to be carried out. During the question and answer session, we will allow you to give us or to ask 2 questions. Every media house to ask 2 questions, and then from there, we will at least the 2 presenters will be answering your questions according to the way they are coming. And before asking questions, you must provide information about yourself, your name, and the media house that you represent. So without much ado, I want to allow the Deputy General Secretary to do the presentation. From there, the General Manager will animate and we'll get into question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I guess your permission, I think I need to put my mask aside and then put the body protection. Good morning. To begin with, I'm quite impressed with the response from the media house. Conventionally and generally speaking, the media and civil society are seen to be the 4th and 5th state of government. We are very crucial in the development of our country, and they are responding to a call in less than 24 hours in these numbers shows our level of growth and responsiveness as far as the profession is concerned. My presentation is going to be structured in this way. I'm speaking for and on behalf of the National Executive Committee, and my brother, the General Manager, who is a member of that task force, will do the necessary animation. I'll give you a background, that is introduction. If you like the genesis of the whole stuff, then share our findings with you and finally our conclusions. Following the press release issued on the 23rd December 2021 by PMO, Personal Management Office, on their intention to implement the approved new pay and grading structure in view of government's anticipated civil service reforms program 2018-2027, the Gambia Teachers Union received several calls from its members, drawing its attention to some disparities in a purported final report of the job evaluation for pay and grading for civil service in the Gambia. This was triggered by an initial analysis trending on social media pointing out that teachers and education officials were seriously disadvantaged compared to their counterparts in a particular sector within the establishment. Our WhatsApp pages were inundated with tons of comments, coupled with 2 petitions directed to the National Executive of the Gambia Teachers Union from Teachers for Change, commonly known as TFC, and No to Teachers Exploitation, a new pressure group that was established or created by virtue of the circumstance, also known as NTE respectively. The leadership of the GTU reviewed the comments from our pages and the petitions against the purported final report of the job evaluation for pay and grading for civil service of the Gambia. Our findings: teachers and education sector personnel were united in the call for redress, as alluded to by the President. Finding number 1. The Gambia Teachers Union found out that there are 4 pay scale options developed in the report. Option A has a starting salary of $19,613 per annum, with 10 grades, 6 increments, and standard increment of 5% within and between scales. Option B has a starting salary of $23,328 per annum, with 10 grades, 6 increments, and standard increment of 5% within and between scales. Option C has a starting salary of $25,488 per annum, with 10 grades, 6 increments, and standard increment of 5% also within and between grades. Finally, the fourth option, option D, has a starting salary of $36,000 per annum with 11 grades plus standard increment of 5% within and between grades 1 to 5 and 3% between grades 6 to 11. Number 2, we have confirmed that option D is the version approved by Cabinet. So all discussions and reviews are centered on option D. Yes, 4 different options were created, but option D was the one presented to the Cabinet of the Government of the Gambia and approved accordingly. Number 3, for the purpose of emphasis, an integrated pay scale has been approved by Cabinet, but the development of the grading structure is in progress. If you like, there is work in progress. Meaning, out of the report, the option B that I mentioned earlier on has been approved to be the integrated pay scale for the civil service of the Gambia. But in terms of process, the grading structure is in development is in progress. I'll give you the details. Number 4, we have further reviewed the claims on the alleged degrading of teachers comparatively against a particular sector. For professional reasons, you'll excuse me not to make reference to this particular sector, but of course we will know. However, our confirmation led to the fact that this is not the case. In fact, the report categorically indicated that, the job evaluation report, and I quote, job evaluation has shown that most of the jobs in the teaching cadre are undergraded and therefore underpaid relative to other jobs. This is what has been categorically mentioned in the report. And then the grading structure is in response to this particular clause in particular. In this vein, and on the contrary, the teaching job has been given an added relative value both laterally and horizontally. What we found out was that contrary to what has been said, rather teachers are paid and properly placed more than the sector we are comparing, and I will share with you where the problem was in terms of the initial analysis that was trending on social media. Number 5, it was apparent that all the analysis we saw were comparison of the proposed new grading structure for teachers against the current scale for the sector in question. This we found to be misleading and erroneous. Our review of the submissions and what we are able to collect from social media shows that the article trending on social media has 3 columns, and in the report, that particular section has 4 columns. The third column is about the current grading system, and the fourth column has to do with the proposed grading structure. Now, if you compare, for example, HTC in the proposed grading structure is going to be placed on grade 5, PTC grade 4. If you compare the PTC grade, HTC grade 5 with a particular reference being made that is currently receiving grade 7, you will easily do a simple arithmetic to say teachers are 2 grades below that particular grade. But that particular grade in question actually is on grade 4. We have confirmed that. So in all our comparisons, we were able to confirm that the error was actually from people comparing what has been proposed for teachers against what is currently being paid. And we are all aware that the new pay scale that has been adopted, that is option D, has been reduced from grade 1 to 12 to 1 to 11. Meaning all the 12 or so fixed positions above grade 12 on the current integrated pay scale has been integrated into option D. Meaning even permanent secretaries has been dropped down to grade 11. With the current scale, of course, permanent secretaries are on fixed and DPSs are on grade 12. Directors are on grade 10 compared to what they used to be on grade 11. So comparing the proposed grade against the current one, you will definitely see a disparity, and our analysis has shown that that was one of the biggest and greatest errors that was trending on social media, and we were able to confirm it with PMO. We decided to make sure that we lay hands on the official document that the Personal Management Office is using to develop and finalize the pay and grading scheme. That was why we had to take the whole world and time to insist and make sure that we lay hands on that document and not to go by what was trending on social media. And until last Friday, we couldn't lay hands on that. And we are happy to report that between Friday and Monday, we are going to engage PMO twice within 2 days to get these things confirmed. Number 6, we have found out that according to the generic pay and grading implementation plan for ministries and institutions, PMO is yet to meet MOPSI, that is the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, to share their final input by reviewing the suitability or otherwise of the draft grading structure in order to address their own needs and circumstances. According to the generic pay and grading implementation plan, PMO is meeting sectors and government agencies and then reviewing what has been proposed in the report against the needs of the particular sector. As we speak right now, PMO has not yet even received the data from the ministry that is supposed to be used as the basis of finalizing the proposed grade for teachers. Meaning, you don't have any final draft yet. Let's say you have a course to do some analysis. Our conclusion: an integrated pay scale with a starting salary of $36,000 per annum with 11 grades and standard increment of 5% within and between grades 1 to 5 and 3% between grades 6 to 11 has been approved by Cabinet, as I said before. Work is in progress, and as such, the draft grading structure for the teaching cadre is subject to MOPSI's input, but as it stands, there is relative value added in consideration of the teaching job. We did some analysis, and in some instances, I guess we saw over 120% increase. Yeah, in some instances, and 200 in some. So we have seen that with the minimum salary for grade 1.1 being $3,000, teachers, there has been a lot of value added to teachers' salary, both vertically and horizontally. And according to our findings, contrary to what is trending on social media, the current grading system is going to take is taking an alphabetical order. It's in A, B, C, D, up to K, and thereabout. So there are going to be letter bands. For example, you have Headmaster Class C on grade 7, Headmaster Class B on grade 7, Senior Master Class C on grade 7, but these sevens might be attached to a letter called K band. And you have K1, K2, K3, K4, K5. So it's going to be horizontal and not vertical, contrary to the numerical values we presented on social media. Our analysis has also shown that. Number 2, conclusion 2, work, okay, I've already said that work is in progress. 3, MOPSI has not yet submitted its data requested by PMO to initiate the final review. Number 4, considering point 3 above, the Gambia Teachers Union has committed itself to, by renewing its commitment and resolve to engage the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education henceforth to ensure that the data that is pending is provided for necessary action. Number 5, we would like to assure our membership and the general public that the union will continue to fulfill its moral obligations and duty to the profession and country at all times. Members should desist from circulating unconfirmed information regarding issues affecting them and instead direct all their inquiries to their union. And finally, members should continue with their normal business where the union engages with MOPSI to ensure the required data is provided to PMO to finalize the draft pay and grading structure for the teaching cadre. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
So now we have heard from the Deputy General Secretary 𝐆𝐓𝐔 giving us a synopsis on the findings of the Gambian Teachers Union, the interactions we had with the PMO, that is the body responsible for the new salary structure. And of course, we were able to get the right document, lay hands on the right document, as he highlighted in his presentation, that we are able to at least get something concrete that we can present to our members for their consumption. So at this moment, let me allow the General Manager to give us animate on DG's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not have a lot to say after that very explicit review of what the task force engaged itself on the past couple of days. However, this is a responsibility that we have to continue executing. Our members are, and I expect they are watching. Firstly, Mr. President, and members of the media, members of the National Executive here present, Gambians do say all protocols respectfully and duly observed. So I greet all of you. Trade unions are very excited when pay structures are revisited. In fact, in most cases, unions advocate for it to happen. This one we can understand the hype and the vibration and all those things because government or our employers proactively engage in the process. So when this report, DGS, I like the word you always use, when the report leaks, and because it is prefixed final, it agitated a lot of our members to the extent they were ready to take action that could have been regrettable today. So you see, technically and literally, we use words that mean different things. To say in a document, final report, and this is why when the message came to the Secretariat, we sat back and we tried to analyze the information that was coming. To say final report does not mean the pay scale that will be executed by the Ministry of Finance. It actually reported from the consultants' work. There is a task force. PMO is working with other stakeholders, and they hired consultants from the United Kingdom. PIA is the acronym. Is it Public Administration International? Yes, this is an international firm specialized generally in personnel management. So they have a team of highly educated people from the Gambian side and from the consultant side working on this. And the most important thing the DGS has mentioned, this is a process. And because it's a process, it goes through several stages. We got the report in January. It was first circulated in September. So between September and January, a lot of water went under the bridge that we are not privy to. That's not on the internet circulating. So if you isolate what we considered a final report from the consultants to government, the inputs that government put into the final works will be left out. And that is what happened to us. This is very important to know. This is a long process. It's going to culminate in the final. Maybe you can have final, and final, and so on and so forth. But this is not the end of the process. That's very important, the DGS, that was very clear. I want to go back to the same page that we were quoting on social media. The 3 columns that DGS mentioned, that left out, and you cannot focus on a page and fail to see the 4th column on the same page. But you can also fail to see the preamble to that particular table, which is on the same page in the report. That is the one he quoted. The teachers are the only profession, teaching is the only profession the report highlighted, that we are undergraded, we are underpaid in relation to other jobs. It's only teachers that the report identified such a positive in favor of. But again, when we went out to explode on the internet, we left the preamble out. We left column number 4 out. And like he said, I cannot put it better. That is misleading. If you are sharing a report as you found it, share it in total and allow people to do their analysis. This misleading information got to many of our members. And like everyone else, when we got it, we also felt a little bit cold. Are we less than enough? And we started asking questions. A lot of us went in and tried to dig, and that's how, like he said, we came to put our fingers on the truth. That the reality is, we have not been downgraded. Even if that report had shown that, should we bring the ceiling down because the job has not been completed? No. That was just a recipe. It was just a trigger for us to invoke our trade union caps and go back and engage with our employers and say, look, this is what we have seen in what you are doing. It's placing us at a disadvantage. Can we reconsider and engage? When the agitation was so serious that we were even seeing threats accompanying the agitation. Some of us were so animated, we have started thinking of putting our tools down. Let me remind my colleagues, industrial action is expensive. It has implications for national development. That is why we shouldn't be rushing to put on our striking caps. Teachers are not designed for strikes. We are designed for teaching. It is the union that is designed for industrial action. Industrial action is not all strikes. There are so many ways to achieve your objectives in relation to your employment. Different, completely different from denying children classwork. That should be the last resort. It shouldn't be, particularly when work is still ongoing. Can you imagine if we had filled the streets with placards, union in front, general secretary on one side, president on the other side, only to be told what you are killing yourselves about is work in progress? How embarrassing would that have been for the union? So thank God we were tactful, we were patient, and we were able to do a good job to come up with these facts. This process has not ended. So, Mr. President, I want to say in conclusion that our teachers need to trust us. Let them trust the union, but let them trust the process. This one was initiated by your employers. We have been advocating for better pay, but we have always been told better pay cannot come for teachers alone, in isolation. Other civil servants need better pay. This time, it's a holistic approach to the pay structure. Every employee is excited about that. Even those who are not in the public employment are excited about this because it will have repercussions on other salaries. So it's important to excite us, but let's be patient. Let's allow the process to end. If we find any information, like DGS said, we welcome this. Perhaps we are more than grateful that this emanated, the noise emanated from our members. That is why we even knew that there was a pay scale being prepared. We didn't know. Government felt they shouldn't communicate until they are ready. But when we stumbled on this, we were able to do due diligence on that, and today we can say comfortably that we have laid hands on that report, and we have engaged with PMO, we have engaged with MOPSI, and that engagement will continue. We will continue to fight to make sure that we are treated equally, equitably, we are treated fairly, and we are treated justly. This union was founded on the principles and basis of social justice. The union continues to survive on the same principle, social justice. On that note, Mr. Chair, I want to say, let's continue the engagement through the structures that we have. Let's trust the process. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, I think at this juncture I want to thank the two presenters for doing due diligence to their reports and findings, and then allow the members of the press to ask some pertinent questions and also seek for better clarifications. I know you are well equipped with questions here today, so we'll give you the opportunity to at least ask your questions. But please tell us your name, the media house you are representing, so that at least for the purpose of our record. Okay? So let's allow the questions to flow, one after the other. Or we will be limiting you to 2 questions at a time, not more than 2. Yes. So it's like you are all no question, everything is clear to you. Oh, all right. And tell me your name.
My name is 𝐆𝐓𝐔 from TV&MEDIA.
Okay, go ahead.
GTU is the parent body of teaching fraternities. With all this trending and all the problems that emerge, isn't this an indication of the, sorry for the language, inefficiency of the leadership of GTU?
Can you repeat it again? I don't get it clear.
I said with all the problems and all the teachers coming up together with the misinformation.
Okay.
Isn't this an indication of the inefficiency of the leadership of the GTU?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. All right, another one?
And my second one is,
okay.
What if the fear of the teachers come to reality? What will the board do to in response to that?
Okay. Okay, then let's go, let me allow GM to answer that, and from there, we, invite another question. Yeah, GM?
Yes, thank you, 𝐆𝐓𝐔. Maybe I should remove the muffler. Thank you very much for, and don't apologize for the language. I think it's a very pertinent question, which in today's world social media has provided everyone a platform to be very expressive. As a result, you people in this profession, the media fraternity, are under threat from everyone becoming a journalist eventually. When I was younger, that's some 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we only had news from the radio or read it from a newspaper. Now we have news written in the skies. And because of the power handed to individuals, censorship, which was the way journalists were controlled, has disappeared. The union also has structures. Through these structures, what we expected was, when information of this nature is tumbled on by a member, it should have come from these structures at the grassroots level, finding itself into this room at the National Executive Meeting. Then the union will take a position and respond. Our efficiency is not tested by the amount of noise in social media. Our efficiency is tested by our ability to respond professionally and tactfully. We have listened to all this. We have all developed immunity against those kind of comments. We joke with it. We say, look, when you're going to work, put on your life jacket, because the missiles will be there from morning to evening. But what is important is the union's efficiency has been tested again in this matter. This is showing how professional we are. We sat with our employers, and we were able to get information that belongs to government institutions because they trust us. They know we are the genuine representatives, the legal representatives of the teachers. Today, anybody can go to a corner, form a WhatsApp group, call yourself a name, and say you are representing that constituent. The mandate to represent teachers is only in the National Executive. And that is why we will call you here and say with authority that the recognized body has gone through this, and we are telling you the noise is not worth it. Coming to your second question, if their fears are confirmed, that question is rhetorical, but it should not have come if you had listened to us earlier. We are saying on the same page of the draft quoted, it is indicated that we are not on the grade we are being pointed to in the analysis. We are not there. We are not on the grade assumed to be our eventual pay. So even during the process of working on it, government has not proposed anything that downgrades the teacher. So we cannot imagine that turn happening now. And you have been told that government, the cabinet has approved scale 4. If you are using the snowball effect, that is the beginning of the confirmation that that is what will eventually come out. If the people who shared this information has shared the full page, you would have noticed that the sector that they were talking about compared to us are definitely not below, above us. They are not anywhere above the teacher. On the same page, but that was not what was intended for sharing. That's why they shared the misleading part. So yes, if it is, and again, it's a process. If that fear is confirmed to be the truth, to answer you directly, we'll come back to this hall as a national executive. And we will discuss our next step. The union has a procedure. That procedure begins with engagement. We'll engage with government. We do not start with a strike. We start with engaging. We point to them and say, look, this can lead to that. And those discussions will end at some point. If we feel that this is not going anywhere, that is when we start considering other options. But I don't think it will get to that, because the draft does not put the teacher at a disadvantage. That is what we want to communicate. That on the same page, if that full page was shared, teachers would have realized They are not at a disadvantage in any way. I hope that helps answers your question. Thank you, Tony.
All right, DGS also want to throw some light onto 𝐿𝐏𝐿𝐬𝐬 question.
No, not everyone.
No, just...
yes. Thank you very much, Janky. Like the general manager says, you are doing exactly what you are meant to. I'm not sure whether you are privy to our coffee time interview. We said if our assumption, and in this case the fear you're talking about, is confirmed, then we have a very genuine concern and we will seek justice no matter what it takes. That is what we said. Maybe you missed that, and that is our position. If you look at our missive to the permanent sector, we gently reminded him that we have a moral duty and obligation to fulfill our mandate. So if you had initial access to those two information, probably you would not have asked that question. But thank you very much, and we're encouraged to ask more. Thank you.
All right, another hand up over there.
Yeah, my name is Binta Jallo, and I work for iAfrica TV.
Binta Jallo. Jallo.
Yes. Yes. So I just want to know if you are going to share the report with the teachers to ease their mind on this fake report according to what is being said on social media.
You mean our findings?
Yes, your findings.
Yeah.
I can easily, in fact, it is live, trending live on our Facebook page. And yes, even all of you interested will have copies. You see, I said in my introduction, you are the fourth and civil society is going to be the fifth state of government. You are here by default or design representing the very teachers concerned because by virtue of your role. So the fact that you would have been, you are a vehicle of communication. Through you, our last member in Bolivia now will access this information. This is why you are here. To answer your question, yes, through this platform, yes, through our social media channels, yes, because all these things will be circulated or shared on all our platforms. The actual report that we have, there is nothing like two reports. They are sharing the final report from the consultant, but like we said, a particular section 2.5.3 has been corrupted. By, instead of presenting only 4 columns, analysis was based on only 3 columns for the purpose of emphasis. To answer your question, yes, we will use all vehicles or means to make sure that what we have here reaches to our members. And definitely through you as well. Thank you.
Okay, Binta, I hope that clears your doubt.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Another question, please. Yes. You are?
I'm Omar Pijalo, QTV. My question is, Mr. Yu did mention that the GTU, which is the Ghana Teachers Union, is the body responsible or the body that represents the interests of teachers. It's the only legally recognized body that represents the interests of teachers, and that should stand for the interests of teachers. As a teacher, I wonder why the need to have sub-unions, because that is how I see those unions that brought, lifted the red flag, which is the Young Teachers, Association, or Teachers for Change, or the Teachers Without Borders, Teachers, no exploitation for teachers. Why do you need to have all those small sections when you have the Gambia Teachers Union? And it has never failed to respond to the needs of teachers. Why do you have to allow those other people to come up with those? You see, this is what is creating the confusion, to me, what I am, to my understanding. Because some teachers tend to listen to those people because they are the noise makers. they are the ones, even if a layman come and hear, this is what he said to teachers, they are the first people that will jump and arrive to a conclusion, yes, we are going to strike. What are you going to do as the parent body to ensure that those people do not, you don't give them the chance to be threatening the entire country with strikes when things happen affecting teachers? Let the union, let everybody listen to the union and don't give chance to these youngsters. Right. As a teacher, I am a teacher, I'll always be a teacher.
I want you to start and you finish it. I find this very, very, very tough question, Omar. Obviously a colleague belonging to the profession, although we are losing you now, you seem to be slipping more towards a journalist than a teacher, notwithstanding your training is still with you. In my earlier intervention, I alluded to the power of social media. This is a very, very big challenge for the union to be able to mute all the dissenting voices. It will be a big, big problem. When they walk into your studios to keep you 1 hour and engaged and entertained and all that, we are not consulted. Back to the old days, you would have written to the civil, the GO still exists. This morning I was discussing with my president, and we were saying the GO still exists. Code of conduct still exists regarding a civil servant walking into a radio station and conducting an interview on his or her employment. There are restrictions. Those laws are still there, but no one is enforcing them. No one is bothered about them. So to control this dissent will be a big challenge. For me, what I think is easier is for the union to remain resolute. For the union to remain relevant, we must continue to do what we are meant to do. That is to represent teachers, to advocate on their behalf, to represent them, to go to the relevant authorities employing our teachers and make sure those people feel our presence. But to control these splinter groups now will be a Herculean task. Because social media, just like the government, cannot control the criticisms. Even in the most sophisticated of states, US, where you have the CIA, you have the FBI, you have criticisms everywhere. And it's now in the open. What used to be a secret, you could write a letter as a whistleblower, send it to the media. Today you don't need to go anywhere. You can be in the bush and bring the country down through rumors and speculation. But that's the world we are living. This is our generation of internet social media control. A serious concern. It concerns us as well that we have all these groups coming up and calling and having executives and being given audience, sometimes even by authorities. So it becomes a big challenge, serious one, but it will be difficult for the union to stand up and step our feet and say, it's not going to happen, no one is going to call themselves anything. That will be difficult to control. That's my view, Mr. President.
Let me start. That is a very interesting question. In normal trading on life, normal, it is acceptable to have presidents, but there are many circumstances. For instance, in this case, you have the pay and grade structure. You can have your own president, mount it, you have a petition, send it, and disappear, and allow the union to work on it. You have an issue of WC. You think the union is not paying attention, or the government is not doing the right thing, you come together, mobilize, strategize, present your union, and disappear. It's normal. But not in the manner in which we are going about it. You see, like, I said to a particular group, have you read our constitution? He said no. Then how do you hold me accountable to know whether what I'm doing is right or wrong? In fact, communication programs, you can go where all the media houses we are talking about constitution, so that you understand. Like he said, some of these audiences are provided by people in authority. We are 85 years this year. If we are not relevant, then we wouldn't be able to stand the test of time. We don't fear criticisms because challenges make us relevant. We are here to address the concerns and interests of teachers. We have no problem, even an individual, even on national level. Don't you have private sponsored bill? Yes. As an individual teacher or a concerned parent, you can write to the office of the president and express your concern. We will sit over, we will review it and act and respond. You don't react, you respond in most instances. So like he said, we're going to sit here and say, you don't have to exist, but we are very mindful of the fact that we would always and will continue following due process and procedure, no matter what noise or pressure. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I believe that cleared your doubt. I know what you want to hear. Maybe it may not be that. But
he's defending his union.
Yes, exactly. You know, like he said, that is common nowadays. In this stage and time, where we have pressure groups, within pressure groups. All right, you go to Ghana, you go to many countries. You know, those who are very much acquainted most with the trade union activities. You know, they have a lot of pressure groups within. But they are there to support the main union. They are giving them the support, you know, their eyes are on the ball, they always make sure that, you know, whatever findings they come up with, they present it in a more formal manner to the union. And then I also want to thank the pressure groups that we have within GTU. You know, this time around, honestly, they, you know, came up with their presentation, their letter, they, you know, put everything together and they came to present it to the union. That of which I want to thank them for that. And the note of teachers' exploitation and then also the TFC, they both did that, which is very much welcome from the side of the union. Thank you. All right, can we have another question? If there is any, if there is none, then we just conclude the...
Can I have a follow-up?
Yeah, yes, good. Go ahead.
Okay, with regard to the concern of these pressure groups, are you, by any instant, trying to form a law to limit their noise making?
Jackson, thank you. That is not actually in our plans. No, it's not really something as of now. We allow them to exist the way they are. We are not putting pressure on any one of them. And we also listen, because the criticisms that are coming from our members is also good for us. Because we listen to all of them and try to at least cipher, you know, and then get a very good information out of it, and then act upon some of those things. Because we cannot be everywhere. Although we have structures in the regions, we have our regional structure, we have our cluster structures, and we have a representative in every school. Just recently, a few months ago, we were able to train over 400 plus school representatives, and that cost us a fortune. And that is the reason why we did that, is to at least, you know, raise their awareness about how union works, to empower them with that skill and knowledge. And that is why, you know, we are able to at least contain this kind of issues whenever it comes up. Because we have people on the ground who can always give us the information, they can always suggest, we chat, we discuss, we, you know, we meet, we agree on issues before we actually go back to our membership. So the splinter groups, they are definitely doing a great job at some point, and then, you know, we will welcome their ideas anytime. But like he said, anytime you have a pressure group within a pressure group, when there is a concern, after that, when their concerns have been dealt with, they should disappear. But we have seen in our time, in GTU, it's a different situation. All right, some of them are still in existence, but I believe with time, you know, they will also disappear.
I think what I want to add there is we had 2 petitions, as I alluded to. They wrote to us. They came and presented their letters. We received them, gave them audience, and responded, replied them officially to acknowledge the receipt of their document, and then engage the government. So as long as people comport themselves, as long as they follow due process of procedure, we have no problem. We should have 100 of them. But we will not allow anybody to dent the image of this teaching profession. We cannot entertain people who will be sitting there insulting, molesting. That's not necessary. We are professionals. You see, if you read our constitution, we have 3 principles. Commitment 1 is to the child, to the profession, and to the communities in which we serve. And you must understand that very well. And this is why you find us in many spheres of life. So as a result, we have nothing against anybody. In fact, for your information, we keep protecting them. Because we know the implications and consequences of acting otherwise. We are very much conscious of the Code of Professional Ethics and Conduct. If you look at the education policy, chapter 8.30, every word in the 2016-2030 education sector policy came from this desk. All the pronouncements came from this union. So we know the policy better than even those implemented because we did the initial draft. So we have no problem against anybody. Whosoever is concerned, be you a teacher or a non-teacher or a parent, a carpenter, a farmer, a taxi driver, because of the concerns, walk across, use our platform, use our mediums of communication, and then engage us. We have no problem. But you must exercise decorum. You must comport it. You must, see, as professional teachers, there are certain things which are unacceptable. So otherwise, to be honest with you, we have no problem against any individual or any group. In fact, we have even invited them to this meeting, and those that we spoke to personally knew that we treated them respectfully during our communication. So it's just like Mr. Hu said, you can be on the platform, you can be on social media, and then you can be somewhere else, and then we don't expect you to abuse that space. That is what is not acceptable, to be honest with you. Other than that, to be honest with you, we can have as many as possible based on the prevailing circumstances. Thank you.
All right.
So,
yeah.
President.
Yeah. Okay. You are?
Yes. My name is Mamadou Seydou Diallo. Mamadou Seydou Diallo.
Mamadou Seydou Diallo.
Yes. Representing EDUSA, University of the Gambia Education Student Association.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank GTU for swiftly responding to the issue, because we are also stakeholders. At first, when the issue was raised, it also concerned us because we are more of a teacher association. Most of the teachers are at the University of the Gambia. But from the report that is presented right now, is reassuring. I want to thank you. I just have a question, and excuse me if you must have mentioned because I came late. Previously, or I can say a few months ago, there was a report that was released, and you did not mention the sector. Let me just mention. Government allocated allowance, like risk allowance or on-call duties to the nurses or to the health sector. I want to ask, based on the findings that you have presented, or that the report that you studied, whether there are the new scale is trying to factor in some allowance, like the risk allowance. You've seen during the COVID period, teachers were asked at some point to go back to the classroom, which of course has some implications on the health of the teacher. And whether also like health insurance, it's been catered for the teacher, and other relevant allowances, you know, attached to the health personnel, to the teaching force. Just to see whether there are new allowances created that could at least help to protect the teacher. Yeah, or also improve, contribute in the welfare of the order. Thank you very much, sir.
This particular task was on pay and grading scale. Even yesterday we mentioned the issue of allowances, including overtime, double shift and the like. For transport, we have been overtaken. That has been resolved. We can see comfortably that across the board of the CRR that has been addressed. because one of the main concerns has to do with the issue of housing. And then, if all goes well, every civil servant will be entitled to 2,500 flat across to take care of this gap. We raised and flagged this issue of allowance, not only that, including even civil service revolving fund for our members within the board, and then other attendant issues, including even how do we expand the mandate of CPAT, Committee for the Promotion, Appointment and Discipline of Teachers, in the absence of TFC, given the law with the National Constitution. One of our problems is people compare GTU, for example, with the Ghana National Association of Teachers or Kenya. You see, in the absence of a teaching service commission, we are comparing literally apples with oranges. It doesn't work. Our main challenge is anytime we push hard on government, they gently reflect and realize that we are not the only source of water. They think about the health sector, they think about educational workers and other sectors. But unless we have our own teaching service commission, some of these problems will not be solved. And for your information, everything, in fact, literally all the pronouncements on the draft constitution about the formation of the teaching service commission came from our desk. We presented it and defended it to the CRC. Because we knew proactively that is the solution to most of our attendant issues. So the issue of allowances is a matter for another day. Because of the exigency of the need for us to address this, yesterday we decided to engage on another platform regarding those allowances. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is properly said. Any more questions? I think we have, if there is none, we can just, you are clear now. So, yeah, everything is clear now. So once again, I want to thank you so much, all of you. Yeah. Any last word before I conclude? Yeah, I think
I want to make this one very short. I'm asked to, media houses. I want to appeal that you invite our friends back and we try to remove the atmosphere, the other one that existed. Let's try to have this conversation. The conversation should continue, but not in an acrimonious manner. No one is fighting. We all want better working conditions. That's all, period. So let's continue. The union will continue to engage MOTSI. We are going to engage the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, even on these allowances and other things. We will never, never have enough, never. So that engagement will continue. Let our members continue to engage the union. And I think that's the way forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.
On our calendars, we have our numbers on it. Every school, most of our representatives all over, all the schools do have our calendars. And then all the contact details are there. So if you have any issue regarding the union or any other thing regarding the fraternity, please make sure you dial those numbers and we will always call you back, okay? And the email address is also there, contact details, just make sure you call. So DBS, you have a final word?
Just to thank the members for their patience. In as much as there was a lot of noise. Of course, many people don't know that we have over 24,000 teachers in this country. So I'm sure there were no 24,000 statements just brought. There might be, but you also have some people who comported themselves very well. And then, particularly those calling us, asking the questions. The challenge I have is, if you say you don't know, I have no problem. Nobody has monopoly over knowledge. But if you say you don't know that you should ask the necessary questions, I disagree. And people are encouraged, members are encouraged to ask questions. Ask us questions. No journalist will ever stand before us and say, we came to the union and we are sent away, or we came to the DGS, officer responsible for regional administration, and said he's not going to afford us interview. In fact, we and others are here. We are happy to talk to the media houses. So, and to you, we want to thank you. Our doors these discussions in these media houses. The first thing that said to me, couldn't the journalists just pick a phone and call and invite us to balance the act? You know, if you want, you will hear from the other side of the aisle as well. It's always important. But anyway, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We have come to the conclusion of the press conference. And once again, I want to thank all of you for coming. Yes. And your questions are relevant. So please, our doors are open at any moment in time if you want to.